seems like the deeper I look, the less I know. It feels like I'm entering into a fraternity of those who have a love of the unknown. Yeah, I feel like I'm open to experience because I want to know. There's something inside of me that's always wanted to understand things and understand myself and what's happening in my experience. I've always been drawn to psychedelics and forms of obviously self-inquiry, and the reason I'm drawn to them is because it's a fundamental opening to experience. Those are doorways to go into the heart of experience, and in the openness of that experience, find out more about myself and life. When you're open to experience, you're always participating and engaging with the world. Participation happens in not only your direct participation with nature and people, but it's also participation is your perception. You're literally participating with the world in every moment through your perception of the world, and I think that's what interests me most about participatory worldview, is how does that appear in the psyche through our perception, because I think going down that particular rabbit hole is very important for raising consciousness and dealing with the problems of our times, is understanding how we are always participating with the world through perception. I think self-inquiry is itself its own creative process, because once you get into the interiority of your own psyche, there appears a sort of creativity in how you continue asking questions within yourself. And that's why self-inquiry is such an individual thing that really can't be taught, because it requires a kind of individuated, creative approach to yourself. I mean, only you know the doorways of your psyche. Only you know how to go through into your experience and into your memories and into your own cells. That is a creative journey in and of itself. So creativity and self-inquiry really go hand in hand, and I think bringing a creative spirit to self-inquiry is really important. Yeah, Gherkin in social constructionism is so cool. I mean, what I love about the idea that, we're constantly creating and socially constructing the world through our meaning and language and concepts and perceptions. I think I'm totally with Gherkin. The exciting thing about that is that we can also then, if we realize how we're constructing our reality and our sense of self, we can always also realize how to deconstruct our sense of self. And there's the possibility of deconstruction of your identity and your psyche, and that how you approach that if you approach that as a creative process, well, then you open up a world of possibility of what you not only can be, but what you've been. I mean, you can totally use your reconstruction process as a way to frame your past creatively in a healthy way, in a way that feels generative and feels good to your soul. And that again, that's another very individuated experience. But I think creativity and social constructionism, they go hand in hand. I think when you're coming up inside of a mystery, you don't know what the contours of that mystery, you don't know what they are. And you can't go into that womb of mystery with preconceived notions of what you're going to find there. You have to experience it as if it's the first time you've ever thought about or felt or experienced the textures of this particular idea or topic or flow of inquiry. And so when you move into it, there is an ambiguity that you have to sort of be not just comfortable with, but really engaged with. It's not even just tolerance. It's welcoming this ambiguity, welcoming this, oh, I have no idea what this is all about, and I'm going to let that not knowing lead me into a deeper intimacy with this, and that intimacy is going to, I don't even know where that intimacy is going to lead. And isn't that a beautiful mystery? Isn't that exciting that we can, in the ambiguity allows us to rise up in a greater love for whatever it is we're learning about. I think that's so cool. Transformative studies has really blown my mind. I mean, that's what the whole our whole program is about. And so sort of looking at this transformation process that is happening right now from that really tight Cartesian, the mind is the central location of the self, and it's through our rationality and certainty that we can know the world. Transformation from that isolated self to a self that is in participation with the world, in participation with the system of life. That to study that as a transformation is very exciting, because it gives a home to my passion, which is self-inquiry. I mean, why? So what? So what? You transform the mind and the psyche with self-inquiry. Well, the so what is because you then are engaging with that with transformative studies. You're saying that this conscious mind is part of that transformative propulsion, and it's the answer. We're moving from isolation to participation, and that participation comes to life through self-inquiry, through self-awareness, through self-knowing. And that in knowing ourselves through inquiry, we can then go into the world and change it. And that right there, that just, wow, that totally turns me on. So transformative studies, it's kind of foundational to why I'm even doing what I'm doing. I love how Alfonso Monturi talks about inquiry as a process of that it's filled with joy and wonder and passion. I think that it is, and I think that all inquiry in that joy and wonder and passion is ultimately self-inquiry. you, if you're in a process of engaging with inquiry with a person, or in, say, action research, and you're doing inquiry in your research, or you're doing inquiry in your relationship, or you're doing inquiry with nature and an ecological inquiry, all of that eventually lands back into the psyche, into the self-inquiry of self-knowing and how you relate to each of those things. So yeah, I think definitely all inquiry is eventually self-inquiry at the root. Engaged with the universe, and I'm maybe dancing, or I'm up against, a whiteboard and I'm writing, and I'm, sharing my ideas in a physical way, it seems like you sort of tap into the creative flow of the universe in how you're moving your physical body. There's a resonance that is also moving in your psyche, and that is also moving in the external world through the flow of chi, and there can be such an important resonance that happens between all of those that's, for me, really fundamental to the creative process. Yeah, creativity of body and creativity of mind are kind of one and the same. To me, inquiry is all about a kind of sanity. It's a sane approach to life, and it's one that I very much believe in. And it's been shown in my own life to be transformative and healing, and it radically changed everything about my life. And as in honor to that gift of transformation that I've received, I want to take that and bring it here into an academic inquiry, into a heartfelt academic, a rigorous academic inquiry, and see what comes out of that. Because I just sense that there's something there. I sense there is something there that may be helpful to other people who are suffering in their minds and in their bodies. And perhaps too, they can experience, like I have, the sort of ordinary sanity of inquiry and of living a life of inquiry. And I want to bring that. I'm here to bring that. And I don't know exactly where that's going to go. I don't even know closely where that's going to go. But I'm excited, and I'm interested to move forward into it. There's something inside of me that is just, I don't know, rooted in a motivation to see where this all leads, and that's a giant mystery wrapped up in an enigma. And how exciting that I get to be part of that unfolding.